And hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo. This episode I want to talk about a number of things. I want to talk about art and Unreal Engine 4 and me finally learning it. I want to talk a bit about synchronicities with regards to my map, the medical assistant program, woo-woo nonsense, not nonsense, woo-woo stuff I've been up to. And I have the greatest news of all time ever. Possibly not the greatest news of all time ever, but pretty good news. I finally got an appointment to get my eyes checked tomorrow morning at 10:30. It's in the town over from where I am, which I assume I'm allowed to go to because it's a medical appointment. It's, you know, which would have to be deemed essential. I think the country's opening up a wee bit more next week anyway, so we'll see. They would want to be really stringent with the rules to stop you going from an eye appointment. Anyway, I got talking to someone in the opticians who I was talking to last week, not the same guy, and so they're pretty happy enough to bring me in as more than I've been bumped up from routine into whatever it is, emergency, essential. Anyway, so great. Tomorrow I may discover that I have terrible eyesight. I may discover that it's nothing to do with my eyes. Well, I mean, certainly something to do with my eyes, but it might be, I know, hay fever. Imagine you had that was hay fever. I don't mind once I know what it is. And because you know yourself, when you're Googling stuff and you come up against detached retina and you're going to go blind and, you know, or it's eye aids or whatever it is, that, you know, you just, which is that, you know, what happens when you're left to your own devices to try and work out what's wrong with you, which is, you know, not a good thing. Anyway, so that's good news that I'm finally going to get that sorted tomorrow, or at least get checked. Which leads me to an interesting thing that happened over the weekend, and I talked about this kind of briefly on the Tasta podcast this week's, which is the one about HGAs and UFOs for people in the far distant future who, you know, you're not synced up with the daily vlogs and the podcast. And it was just this kind of thing where I was, after watching a number of documentaries about UFOs, and I was saying, one of them was the Stephen Greer one, which is all about kind of inviting alien beings into your life to help with healing and stuff like that. And I had been doing, obviously, something fairly similar with the medical assistant program that I've been doing over the last week. So I decided that at the end of the Stephen Greer documentary, I go, well, there's a bit more to the story, but in short, it was like, well, let's have something, you know, let's send me something, or to send a message, a kind of a sync, something, give me something. And immediately I got an email from a guy. His name is Roman, which is I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, which is very synchronistic, being that I've been talking an awful lot about my character Roman from the comic Dem. So immediately that was kind of a, you know, a sync. And he was just saying that he was, among other things, one of the things he was saying was that he'd been watching the videos about my eyes and about the map stuff I'd been doing, and he wanted to just point out something, and he was quite, you know, he was like, oh, please don't take this the wrong way, and it definitely didn't take it the wrong way. But, well, there was a couple of things he said that I immediately went, oh, I don't know, and then on reflection, it was exactly what I needed to hear. But one of the things he was saying that you kind of have I have set myself up for defeat immediately by having these preconceived or these presuppositions that my eyesight is going to get worse as I get older. And I definitely have that. That is a belief I have about life, and that has been instilled into me by, you know, living and people around me, and it's a known thing. I have friends who've, as they get older, their eyesight has been worse. So I have this belief that that is an eventuality that has to happen to me. And you're just kind of going, that's a bit incongruent with going full woo into something. And I was kind of thinking about it. He goes, yeah, that is a belief. So therefore, it would be something I could likely be creating in myself because it seems like a natural order. And if I start feeling older, which I have done, obviously, because I turned 40 a couple of years ago, and, you know, you realise I'm not a young person. Some people buy Ferraris. I'm not in the market for a Ferrari, but I'm sure, you know, there's probably equivalent things I'm doing. I hope there isn't, but I'm sure there is. So, you know, so you realise you're not young anymore, and so then that brings you into the category of, well, I'm getting old. And so then what do I associate with being old? Well, I associate with being old is my eyes not being as good. I associate maybe getting sicker regularly, being weaker. And I've been kind of chastised by people previous because I say things like, oh, my knees, I'm old, and stuff like that. I'm saying, don't do that, you're not that old, you know. And I kind of am falling into this kind of program of believing that I have to fall apart as I get older. Now, I know ultimately we're all going to die. There's no question of this. And, you know, that well, here you go, straight into the limiting beliefs. You're not going to have perfect health until you die. Some people have perfect health until they die. So why am I tuned into this inevitability of, slowly falling apart. So it's an interesting one. I was very thankful for that. He also made a point which I initially kind of poo-pooed or got not annoyed. It just kind of went, I don't know, where he was saying that think about the stuff that if you're not doing the things that you want to do because because it was a reference I assume going that I haven't really gone full swing into learning Unreal Engine, which I'll come back to because I have, and my comic because of maybe my eye thing. And he was saying that maybe that's just an excuse because it's not as fun as you think it is, and that you feel under pressure to do it. And I was kind of going, well, no, I do want to do it, and but there probably was a bit around the Unreal Engine feeling there was a mammoth task to learn that kind of stuff, and just kind of putting it off, and perhaps a slight bit of laziness on my behalf, or the kind of scared notion of once you're getting into this project, what if it doesn't go well, or what if I don't enjoy doing it? It's kind of worrying about worrying, which is a huge thing I do. It's like one of the main things that come up in therapy is that I have this thing of worrying about worrying. So like if I have to go on a journey, I will start worrying about not necessarily things that would go wrong, which will, but I'll worry going, oh, now I'm going to spend the next couple of months worrying about this trip or whatever. So it's worrying about worrying. So that was interesting. So I got my finger out and started learning Unreal Engine. I had touched on it a bit previous, and actually the day before I got that email, and I have pretty much learned all I need to learn about Unreal Engine to do what I needed to do. And of course, there's so much that you would need to learn if you wanted to make games or do, architecture or, in any kind of professional capacity. But I just literally wanted to be able to put up walls, stick in some lights and move in some assets, like a couch or whatever it is. And then have the whole camera thing where I can take screenshots that I can then either use as reference or manipulate it in some way to use as a background. And so I'm pretty much there. I put up some images today on the social media of where I'm at, and there's some very kind of shiny sheets and stuff like that. So I have like a wee bit to go, like so that's that the certain reflections look the way they're meant to. Although I might need to, depending on what way, if they're referenced, then it doesn't really matter. If it's a manipulation, I have to kind of work out exactly how that's going to look and what way lights should be. Certainly won't be using kind of small apertures, or because you will need everything, depth of field type stuff, so you'd need everything in focus because it doesn't work. A blurry background, it doesn't really work as a line drawing. It's just you need the kind of sharpness of a high aperture. I keep saying a wide aperture, of a narrow aperture. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Unreal Engine, and I'm glad to have worked that out. And now I'm just putting together all the different kind of locations that I want for the story, so that I have all of this reference. It's something I always wanted to do for all my other comics, and I never got round to it, so I finally not been lazy on that. So that's it. That was a pretty good one of synchronicity around healing and the map stuff I've been doing, which was wonderful. And it led me to a nice little insight that I have around my own limiting beliefs, or not limiting, there are limiting beliefs, but beliefs around what it means to get old, and that I just assume I'm going to fall apart very quickly. And to have a look at that. There was plenty of other stuff he sent me as well, which was equally relevant. And thank you very much, Roman. And the Unreal Engine and my eyes. So tomorrow's update will be, I assume, eye-centric, and me telling you exactly what is going on. So now I'm going to spend the rest of the night worrying about my eye test tomorrow, which hopefully I won't. So good people of the internet, I hope your day is going swimmingly. I hope you get nice emails from people that leads to wonderful insights about how you view the world and view your position in the world and what is going to happen to you over the next couple of years. And if not, may your best days be ahead, and be well. I'll talk to you tomorrow.